Hello once again, this is Uncle Jimmy with Jimmy's Train Station and Travel Adventures. Now I haven't done a model video for a while, so I figured we would go ahead and do one for you folks to put out. Today I'm going to be working on a false model from False Scale Models. And the model I'm going to be working on is called Bluebird Taxi. Now, I do have a little taxi car that I'm going to do with the setup as well. So, this is the kit from False Scale Models. I can't remember the exact price. It's around, there it is, $47.50 for this kit. It's a laser cut, like I usually like doing. So, let's open it up and see what we have in the package to begin with. Okay, to start out with, we always have our wood bracing and trim that we need. And it's all color coded. That's what I like about these models. You can't get the wood mixed up because it's color coded on the end. Hope you can see that. And that is color coded for a reason. And the reason is to let you know if it's bracing or trim and where it goes. So we're opening up the package to see what we got. So far we got the bracing. And we'll empty the contents out here. Always try to keep my trash in a big pile together. The directions are very detailed, and what I like to do is I will go over the whole thing before I start and read the whole directions. As you can see, it shows you the bracing and the trim in green and red. Now, the red is the bracing and the green is the trim, of course. And it shows you the side view and the exact size in inches in diameter of the trim. The detail, like I said, it's very detailed. I do like reading the whole directions. So this sheet is just for your bracing and trim to show you where it goes, and these are the actual directions. And like I said, they're very detailed, and I always like going through that and reading it before I get started. Of course, this is for your roofing you can use. Sometimes I'll use this or paint it or spray paint it a color, or I will actually use other things like corrugated metal. You got your pieces here for your, these are your roof pieces. These are some trim around the windows and doors. I'm not sure if this is a base or another roofing piece. We'll find out as we read the directions. And as usual, it comes with a really, really nice tools and tips for building structure kits. And of course you have your plastic for your windows, and it goes with what kind of glue to use, certain techniques, tools that you might use, weathering products. It just goes on and on. And here it tells you about how to do weathering shocks, alcohol stain, your castings, details, doors and windows, sponge painting, which you have seen me do before, which I will probably do on this one. And then here is your color-coded, telling you what size and for your trim and your bracing pieces. And then, of course, you also have your actual pieces here of the building. Now, also, we have pieces they always give. It looks like we got some windows and doors, some chimney pieces, some barrels, and some castings. It looks maybe like, I'm not sure what castings them are. Looks like a couple cylinders and things that go. And of course you can add more detail. The more detail you add to your layouts and buildings, the better. I can see like a spare tire here. So I buy a lot of extra castings and things, And I've got all kinds of figures and automobiles and just different things to add to the building. Uh, the more detail, the better. Now, also, I want to mention, in the process of doing this, if you're going to lift some of the clapboards here, which I learned from Jason Jensen Trains on, I watch him. He's another model, very good artist. Get a chance to watch some of his videos, and his techniques are the same as mine. I've learned most of this from him, watching his videos. And it's better to raise the clapboards if you want to make the building look old. You can do that by simply taking a razor blade or whatever tool suits you. I use just a cheap razor blades from a hardware store. You get a pack of them for like $5 or $6. And you simply go down through the line of where you want to raise your clapboard on each line, and then I cut down diagonally and then lift that little piece of wood to make it look like the clapboards are coming up off the side of the buildings. Now, if you're going to do this technique to make your building look old, and I do it on a lot of my buildings because I like the buildings looking kind of old and worn down. It gives more detail. It looks really neat in the layout. So I will do this before I do any painting or any bracing, because it's a lot easier to do this without putting the bracing on first. Then once I lift the clapboard where I want, then usually I will go ahead and do the bracing. That's the main thing. And then of course from there you can go and either stain it with ink colors or watered down paint of your choice of colors, or spray paint from Krylons, which I use a lot of Krylon paint from Walmart for a spray can. It's for plastic, wood, and all types of surfaces, which are these here that you can get at Walmart. And you don't really have to spend a lot of money for this hobby. I mean, some of the models are a little bit expensive, but well worth. You can even buy cheaper models and buy plastic models if you'd like. And as you can see, I still have quite a bit of models in stock to do yet. And I'm just putting all my models on the shelf for now. Eventually, years from now, or a couple years from now, I will do a layout. But for now, I'm just building structures to make it easy. Once I have all the structures built that I want, then I can actually start my layout and place them where I want. So this is the way I'm going about it. Some people do it as they go with their layout, but I'm just doing my structures. I will store these and keep these in good shape for when I do find a permanent. See, right now with me, I'm undecided if I would like to build another building outside eventually, or convert my garage. Me and my wife is talking about converting the garage into another room, which would be my train model room. So we haven't decided yet exactly what I want to do. So for now, I'm just building and storing, which is fine with me. I'm in no big hurry. It's a hobby. I like doing it, taking my time. So from here, I'm gonna go ahead and raise some clapboard, and I'll show you with one piece how I do that real quick. We'll go ahead and we'll pop these pieces out here. And you just want to be kind of careful when you do that, because you don't want to break your pieces if you can keep from it. You just got to slowly work it out. Sometimes it's better to take the razor blade and go along the edges here. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut down the lines and get my pieces out right here. Sorry about that. I had the camera turned on. But just go down, take your razor blade, and kind of cut the pieces out like this. So let me do that real quick. And kind of, that way when you do this process, you're better that you won't break your pieces. because you really don't want to do that. I mean, it can easily be fixed with some wood glue, and that's what I use on these models. But see, it's a lot easier to do. Keep it from breaking. Another piece here. There's these little notches where it's attached along the way here. Like there's another one I didn't get. So it's easier if you go along just very carefully. And hear it cracking, that's normal. And see, you got your piece out there. Same way with this one, you just want to be real careful. And if you end up with pieces like this, you can just simply take your razor blade and cut them off like so. And then, you know, you can take sandpaper, which I usually do. Just a little piece of sandpaper. And smooth those edges off real carefully. Now remember, these pieces are very thin pieces of wood. So you kind of want to be very careful when you're working with these, because they can break real easy. Let you see how thin that really is. Now this extra, sometimes I save pieces in case I ever want to scrap build. Now I haven't scrap build ever. Not saying that I will never scrap build, because I'm not sure. But sometimes I save it just in case. I probably will scrap build some buildings in the future, because I can't find any. I want to do little surprise things in my layout, like putting movie scenes and stuff, and I do want to put Sun Studio Records, which is in Memphis, because I got a little Elvis figure and an Elvis car to put out in front of it, and I've not been able to find a Elvis Graceland. I haven't found a Sun Studios, which I'd like to put in there, and I have found Elvis's house, or shotgun house model, which I can get. I got the wrong size. I got N scale, so I'll probably sell that and by accident. And I needed HO, but it's a shotgun house, which looks a lot like the house he was born in. So I want to put little scenes like that in, and I might have to scratch build some of those buildings since they do not exist in models. But as you can see, you know, I've sanded down the pieces. Now we are going to raise some clapboard, and I want to show you real quick how to do that. So all you're doing is taking your razor blade and simply going down the lines. It's already there. Now you don't want to push too hard, but you want to go in the grooves of that, and the groove right under, and make indentation marks. Like I said, it's really thin, so you don't need to go real hard. Then after you do that, you're basically cutting a little indentation mark vertically. And then you just kind of go up under the wood a little. And it takes practice. It's not that hard. And you're going to simply lift that piece of clapboard a little bit. So I'm going to show you an example of that. I hope you can see that. Just simply raising it, looking like some of the wood is simply coming off the side of the building. And you just do it, you know, You don't want to overdo it, but just do it here and there to make it look like the building's old and some of the clapboard's coming off. It gives you more detail to the building, makes it more 3D and looks more realistic. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for the pieces of the building. And after that, then I'm going to show you how we brace the pieces before painting. And stay with me and enjoy this project as we go ahead and work on this model together. Okay, folks, we've lifted some of the clapboard on these wall pieces to make the building look older. So I'm going to show you an example of that right now. As you can see, I have lifted some pieces of the wood, which just makes it look like the wood's rotted or coming up off the structure itself. It's an older building. Just here and there. It don't have to be a lot. Done the same with the little side building that goes on the side. Just a little piece there. One little spot on the top of this one. Just to give you an idea. That's how it's done with the razor blade. Now it's time for us to do the bracing. As you can see on the bracing template here, the red is the actual bracing pieces. And it's color-coded red, which you can see here on the end. It's 1/8 inch pieces of wood. And so we'll start with the first piece, which is this building piece right here. And it's done on the inside, so we're actually reversing it. Now, it don't show it that way here, but it shows you where the wood would go. But you're looking at it like it's transparent through the front. So you gotta be careful when you add the wood bracing. But as you can see, there's a piece on each side. And on this piece here, there's a little indentation at the top, which I'll try to show you. Right there on the left top corner, which you don't want to cover that up. According to this, you want to go right underneath of it. So what you would do is you would do about like that all the way down the side and leaving the top corner. And then they ask for a piece here in the middle about like that. And then again on the other side, you got a 45-degree cut there that you have to do on this wood. And then it'll be placed right there. So let's go ahead and I'll show you an example of that. Now what I do is I like to, first of all, I've got to cut the corner off at the 45 for this side here. So I simply go across at a 45-degree right on the edge and just trim a little piece off like this. Now this piece, like I said, is going to fit right here. So what I do is I basically line it up, get my marker where I want it to be, take it off of the piece, and then I simply take one of my tools, which I use my clippers here, my wire clippers as a tool, and this is how I do it. I just kind of put weight down and chop it right off. Just be careful if you're going to do it that way, because we don't want no cut fingers. Now, like I said, I use simple wood glue. You got Elmer's, and you also have the Gorilla Glue. As long as it's wood glue, it don't really matter. Bear with me as I get some of this old glue off of here to open. And we just simply are going to put a little glue on the side we want to glue down here. It don't take much. Just a little bit. But you don't want your model messy. And then we're simply going to place it right where we want it on the edge of the model. Then what I do is I usually, once I get on there, I just take my finger and rub down and make sure it's flush and get the excess off. So basically that's what we're doing. As you can see, and like I said, we're going to go down the middle and over here on the edge and do it. And then we're going to do all the pieces, bracing it. Now before we actually paint the building, we can go ahead and paint the trim too and let it dry the same color the building, or you can, it's your world, your model, you can do different colors if you want. But I think on this one I'm just gonna maybe I'll go with gray for the edge pieces to give it more character. I'm actually going to paint the building, since it's called Bluebird Taxi, I'm going to use a dark blue color, but weather it probably in white or silver. I haven't made up my mind to make it look like the paint's chipping off. So I might even, yeah, I'll probably weather it in white. White will look good with the dark blue. I'll sponge technique that. So for now, we're going to go ahead and brace all the pieces, and then we'll continue from there. Okay, folks, we're back, and I have put the bracing on all the pieces, and they're drying now on the backs. And while that's drying, I've got the trim, the border trim, that we are going to do with the Satin 2X Ultra Cover Rust-Oleum from Walmart. It's a gray color, so we'll shake the can up real good. And we're going to spray paint the trim while the boards or the walls are drying. Once the bracing's dry, which should be pretty soon, then we will spray those. And when I spray the walls, I like to spray both sides with a light coat to keep it from warping. So we're just gonna spray these. It's okay if they bounce a little and turn over. Just makes it easier to paint it. And you might want to do this in a ventilated place, which I am not. But I do not stay down here the whole time while I'm building this, because I gotta let the process happen and let it dry. And by the time I get back to do the next procedure, the smell's pretty much evaporated. One little spot here I missed on the one board. There we go. It don't have to be perfect. If there's some wood showing through, that just gives it a little more character. So I'm going to, since it's called Bluebird Taxi, I decided to come up with my own color scheme, and I'm actually going to use this Rust-Oleum 2X Ultra Matte, this dark blue color here, and then we're going to spray both sides like I said on this, let it dry, and once that is done, and I'm going to paint both sides like I said, a light coating, and I'm going to wait till the trim to dry over there before I go ahead and paint these. Once that's done and these pieces are dry, then we'll be back and we will add the trim to the sides where needed, and then we'll do the sponge technique with some white paint, acrylic paint. And I always just use the you can get these at Walmart or Hobby Lobbies, different brands, Americana, Folk Art paint. They're like anywhere from 89 cents to $1. I've got a variety of colors here, as you can see. I even sometimes thought about using some wood stain and do that too on some models, but I haven't done that yet. So that'll be the next thing we do, is we'll add the trim, and then we'll paint these blue, a dark blue, and then do a white sponge technique, which I will show you on these wall pieces to make it look like paint's peeling off. So bear with me while this stuff is drying and I paint, and I'll be right back. Alright folks, we have painted both sides of our structure, and I painted it the dark blue. You can still see where the clapboard's lifted. Painted both sides so they wouldn't warp. They turned out really good. I have the bracing on the back, so it turned out pretty good. I got my trim here, which I painted a gray. I thought that would go good. And like I said, it's your own world. You can do your own thing. And see, it goes pretty good together, the colors. And we got some white here. And I'm going to use this white to do the sponge technique over these pieces of wood on the clapboard to make it look like it is paint chipping off. So I'll show you that technique. So we put a little paint, white paint, in our paint tray, and I got a new piece of sponge here. So let me show you the technique once again for those who have never seen me do it. I learned this, like I said, off Jason Jensen Trains. I learned all my techniques. He's a artist by trade, and I like giving recognition where it's due. And if you ever get a chance to see his YouTube channel, I recommend it highly. So what you want to do is just put a light coat on there and dab the excess off. And what you do is you just start at the top. I like doing it thicker at the top, and as I go down, less and less. So you just, and make sure you turn your sponge too at the same time when you do this. It gives the effect of paint chipping, but you want to make sure you go less and less at the bottom. It's okay if you get a dark spot, that's fine. I'm going to make this one look pretty weathered. So what you do is you get this kind of a effect on it. Now I'm going to do that to all the pieces. I haven't yet decided. I will probably go with gray on the windows. I'm going to do that effect on all the pieces of wood here, and like I said, I'm going to probably do the windows in gray also, like the trim. And then once I do all that, then we will come back, and as you can see, there's signs here that you can cut out. And I'm going to show you how I rust up the signs to make them look metal, and how to do that technique on the side of your buildings. So I will be right back after I put the trim, the gray on the sides, and do my chip paint effects on all my pieces of wood here. And after that, we'll be back and I'll show you what you do with the signs. So I've cut some signs out. I got all the trim put on, as you can see, on the sides. And I've cut some signage out here. Now the technique that I like to use is I will use clear Elmer's glue for my signs on the back. But before I attach the signs, I take sandpaper, turn the sign over, and thin out the sign. Now I don't have to do that much on the little signs, but the bigger signs I like to do. This one here, it says Bluebird Taxi will be made a sign for the roof later. And you don't usually have to use all your signs. I save them for other projects if I decide I don't want to use them all. Like I said, it's your imagination. You don't have to go exactly by the directions when it comes to things like this. Color schemes, your signs, things like that, as far as building a model. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my sandpaper here, and I like using this sandpaper, P80. And all I'm doing basically is I'll fold it in half. Now you have to be careful doing this and do it lightly on these smaller signs. But you're basically just sanding them a little to make them thinner. Now I like making them look like 10 signs is my goal. So you want to thin them out a little bit. And it's okay if you get 1 or 2 small holes in them. But just thin it out a little bit to make it thinner. And then you decide where you want to put the sign. I'm going to stick with the directions on this sign and put it right there over the garage door. And so like I said, what you do, now you can take a sharp number 2 pencil before you glue it on. And you want to make sure the end's pretty sharp. And you can just put in each corner of the sign little indentions and just twist your pencil like so. What that does is it make it look like nail holes and leave the graphite mark on your sign, and that will show up really well to make it look like nails. And I'll show you what that looks like. You can see that on the edge, the 2 nail holes. I did that on each 4 corners. Okay, so then after you put your nail holes, you put your coat of small coat of your clear glue on here. Which it's been a while since I used this, so I have to get the glue off of there. Open up my glue here. I'm still having a little trouble get one of my tools here. Sorry about this, folks. It's been a while since I used my glue, so the end is kind of clogged up a little bit. There we go. And then once you get your glue on, put your sign where you want it. And I like to dab the excess glue off with my fingers. And I take a dish rag and hold the sign at the same time I go over it and try to get it down in the grooves a little bit of the wood. And straighten it up there a little bit the way I want it. And you get this technique here, this look. And then, besides that, if you want to see the little tear in it, that's okay. It just gives it more character. And then on top of that, if you want, go over here to your paints. And we'll go with burnt umber. I want dark rust, so I'm using burnt umber. Put a little bit here in my tray. It just takes a dab. It don't take much. And then I've got a sponge here that I've used before with burnt umber, so just a little bit of the corner and dab most of the excess off. And then you can just simply, what I'm going to do is I'm going to dab over my signs just here and there, not a lot. since the sign's smaller. You don't need a lot of paint. Just a little bit. And then you get that technique right there. That effect. So, you know, you decide where you want to put all your signs, of course. I think I'm going to put the temperature sign. It's a thermometer on the side of the door there. I got an Uncle Sam sign, a 15-cent soda sign I'm going to use. So once you get all your signs where you want and your trim on and all, yes, I also wanted to mention I did leave this a natural color for the little building on top, which it shows right there on top of the building. And I just left it natural wood color and used the white sponge effect on it to make it look like paint peeling off. So that's what I'm going to do with that. So from here on out, we'll get the signs put on. We'll get the windows painted up gray, the same color as the trim. Put the plastic backing on the windows and paint the doors the same gray color, or maybe I'll go with white. Not sure yet. And we'll get all them glued in place, have the signs put on, and then we will actually start putting the structure together. And all we're doing is using wood glue to, you know, glue the pieces together, the 4 walls of the main building, and then the 3 other walls to the side of the building. So I'll get all that done and glued together, and then I'll come back and show you what we do next. Well, hello folks, we're back. This is day 2 of the build of our Foscale model kit, Bluebird taxi. And I wanted to show you what we've accomplished so far. I've got it all glued together for the main part. The windows are in. Got some signs on there. Give you an idea there. Now what I've done is I spray painted the piece on the bottom with gray, and then use graphite pencil and make cracks and make it look like cement in the sidewalk. I just glued these 2 little pieces of wood here. Getting ready to do the roof, which goes on like this. And then we have another roof piece that goes, this one goes over here, which before I glue them on, I haven't decided, but I do have different roofing material here that I can choose, that I've saved and done. I'm thinking about doing the main structure's roof with the shingles, the gray shingles, and then doing the side over here with some rusted corrugated metal of this type. Also have this type I could use. I haven't really decided. I will probably go mainly with this here and put that on. We got an overhang here I've got to build also, and I might go with the brown shingles on it. I've still got a sign to make to put on top. This one here. I spray painted this. This is a little light fixture. It comes with a little piece of wire here that you do that. I've got some other little metal things here that I've done, and some barrels, painted some barrels blue. I got one painted red. I painted this chimney here. I got some cylinders here. I might leave it its natural color. Also have another little chimney piece here, or it looks more like a little metal box of some kind. I might just leave silver too. Haven't decided if I'm even going to use that piece. So we're coming along with this model. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the main structure with this. And all you're doing basically, there's also a cupola that goes on top of that roof that I got to build with these pieces. And it gets a small roof and shingles as well, which I'll go with this color here. So it's coming along well, as you can see. You just got to take your time on these kits. The way this works is you just simply cut the pieces one strip at a time, the length, and glue them on. As so. And you try to get the shingles going all one way. That way when you're done, you can lift some of the shingles up off the roof to make it look like the shingles are old. So let's go ahead and finish the roof, the main roof here, and then we'll do this in a corrugated metal with the rust on it, and we'll go from there. Alright folks, we got the roof put on. As you can see, I lifted some shingles to make it look worn down, and I put the corrugated rusted metal on that side. And I added some details to the model. I put some shelving in a barrel with some wood slabs sticking out of it. And over on the side, I added another barrel full of trash. Let's see, I don't know if you can see that very well, so I'll give you a close-up. Barrel full of trash, some cylinders, another little cabinet lock box. So the more, like I said, the more detail you do to your model, the better it will look. See the roof real close there. And I've got the little cupola here drying, and the roof I'm gonna put on it. And then there will be a extended garage overhang here that will sit here. And then I'll add a couple little people down here. And also I'm gonna make the sign. And the sign there is gonna go over on that side on the corrugated metal. And then I'll put a lamp post on there. Light. And I'll probably put that over the little door there on the side. And then also I'm going to add this roof on top of this cupola. And also I will be adding an extended cement slab that I just painted. And basically all I'm doing with that is I use bounce cardboard and cut, and then I spray paint it gray with the Krylon, and then I'll add some graphite cracks and stuff to make it look real. And that piece is going to extend over on this side, which I'm also going to use that little yellow taxi and park it right there beside it. And like I said, I'm going to add a couple little people. And then I'll put the roof on, or I mean the chimney on the roof. And it'll basically be a finished product. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let these cupola pieces dry before I add those and the roof to it. And then I'll work on the overhang. Now the overhang has a template here to show you how to use it with the rafters and so on. And this piece here will be the stand-up piece, and of course the rafters on the side of the roof. And it tells what size of wood to use here. So we'll be building it, adding the cupola and the roof, adding the extended sidewalk with the taxi cab, the sign and the chimney I will make and add that. The chimney will probably go, I might put over here on this side by the sign, or I might put it on top. I haven't decided. And then of course the little lamp post light, which will be over this door. And that'll be pretty much the model. So stay with me as I finish this model and get to the point of where it's almost finished, and then I'll show you the finished product. Well folks, it's been a few days, and I've done this build 2 or 3 days off and on, and I've added some details to the model, and I have the completed model, and it's just sitting here drying now. So I've added some people, an automobile, a sign, a side roof, little details like a barrel with lumber in it, a cabinet, some air cylinders, another trash can with paper in it. I've added the little roof piece on top, the little section cupola part to the top of the roof. I've added a metal roof to the other side with a chimney. So I'm going to show you the end result, and hope you like it. This is again Bluebird Taxi HO scale from Fall Scale Models, and they have a lot of nice models. So this is the end result. We've got the little taxi cab there with the taxi driver putting the bag in the back, and the little sailor saying goodbye to his wife. It's going on a trip. Got the little rusted Bluebird taxi sign and roof, and a little light here hanging down. Underneath you can see the barrel back here with the trash in it, and the cylinders and the other tin can. And in front I have another little metal barrel with some wood lumber in it, and a little cabinet here. The cupola was added. I lifted some shingles on the roof. I rusted this one up. I added a piece of sidewalk extension here for my car, and I'll show you the other side. This is the other view, the other side, with the little chimney on top with the metal roof, rusted metal. Back view. So I'm pretty happy with it. Turned out pretty good. I'm wanting a lot of my buildings to look run down from my waterfront scene. This is going to be part of my waterfront scene. So I hope you like the model. I hope you like the build. Hope I taught you some things, and we'll do another model. I'm gonna let this sit for a couple days and dry before I actually move it. Then I'll add it over here to my shelf of many other structures I have done. So again, this has been Uncle Jimmy with Jimmy's Train Station and Travel Adventures. I hope you've enjoyed this model build, and till next time, get you some models. Try it yourself if you think you'd like this hobby, and until next time, this has been Uncle Jimmy with Jimmy's Train Station and Travel Adventures. Please subscribe if you're watching this video, and give it a thumbs up. Leave comments, suggestions of other things you'd like to see me build. Hit the like button. Hit the notification bell up in the right hand corner. Let you know when I download another video. So till next time, model on.